Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desata Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karote Vata Hare Krishna. So we continue reading Bhagavad Gita chapter 2 and today's verse is verse number 52. So Krishna is talking about what happens when you do Bhakti Yoga or Buddhi Yoga. So let us chant the shloka. Yada Yada te moha kalilam
यदा ते मोहकलिलं
buddhir vyati tarishyati
बुद्धिर्व्यतितरिष्यति
tada gantasi nirvedam
तदा गन्तस्य निर्वेदं
shrotavyasya shrutasya cha
श्रोतव्यस्य श्रुतस्य च
yada te moha kalilam
यदा ते मोहकलिलं
buddhir vyati tarishyati
बुद्धिर्व्यतितरिष्यति
tatha gantasi nirvedam
तदा गन्तासि निर्वेदं
shrotavyasya shrutasya cha.
श्रोतव्यस्य श्रुतस्य च
Please chant.
यदा ते मोहकलिलं बुद्धिर्व्यतितरिष्यति तदा गन्तासि निर्वेदं श्रोतव्यस्य श्रुतस्य च
यदा ते मोहकलिलं बुद्धिर्व्यतितरिष्यति तदा गन्तासि निर्वेदं श्रोतव्यस्य श्रुतस्य च
Anybody else want to chant? Please try. It's not, even if something goes wrong, no problem. Okay, so translation and purport. So translation, when your intelligence has passed out dense forest of delusion, intelligence, buddhi, buddhi, you shall become indifferent to all that has been heard and all that is to be heard. Purport. There are many good examples in the lives of great devotees of the Lord, of those who became indifferent to rituals of the Vedas simply by devotional service to Lord. When a person factually understands Krishna and his relationship with Krishna, he naturally becomes completely indifferent to the rituals of fruitive activities. Even though an experienced Brahman, Sri Madhvendra Puri, great devotee and acharya in the line of devotee, says, it's very big. Sandhya Vandana Bhadramastu Bhavato Bho Snanatubhyam Namo Bho Deva Pitarascha Tarpana Vidho Naham Kshama Kshamayan Yatam Yatra Kvapi Nishadya Yadava Kulo Tamasya Kamsa Dvisha Sasya Smaram Smaram Agham Harami Tad Alam Manye Kim Anye Name. Oh, my prayers 3 times a day, all glory to you. O bathing, I offer my obeisances to you. O demigods, O forefathers, please excuse me for my inability to offer you my respect. Now, wherever I sit, I can remember the great descendants of Yadu dynasty, Krishna, the enemy of Kamsa, and thereby I can free myself from the sinful bondage. I think this is sufficient for me. The Vedic rites and rituals are imperative for neophytes. Comprehending all kinds of prayers 3 times a day, taking bath early in the morning, offering respect to forefather, etc. But one is fully in Krishna consciousness and is engaged in transcendental loving service, one becomes indifferent to all the regulative principles because he has already attained perfection. If one can reach the platform of understanding by service to Supreme Lord Krishna, he has no longer to execute any different penances and sacrifice as recommended in revealed scriptures. And similarly, if one has not understood the purpose of Vedas is to reach Krishna and simply engage in rituals, etc., then he is uselessly wasting time in such engagements. Persons in Krishna consciousness transcend the limit of Shabda Brahma or the range of Vedas and Upanishads. If one can reach the platform of understanding by service to Supreme Lord Krishna, he has no longer to execute different types of penances and sacrifices as recommended in revealed scriptures. Hmm. Yadate moha kalilam. So moha kalilam means forest. So here Krishna is continuing the instruction uh, about what is the advantage of doing karma yoga or buddhi yoga or using your buddhi, and what happens when you go beyond the illusion. So here Krishna gives example of forest. So if you in the evening time, now there are no forest as such now in, we live in cities, but if you go into village side, there are still the forests, right? So uh, dense forest are there. So if you go into those dense forest and it is dark and you cannot see and you don't know the road, you get lost in that forest. And there is no one to hear you. There is no one to ask. You get lost in that. So you, but somehow or other, if you go get out of that the forest physically, then you can reach your destination. So here Krishna is using that metaphor to explain that if we means our intelligence, because he's saying buddhi vyati tarishyati. So he's saying if the buddhi surpasses it. So if your buddhi, our buddhi is engaged or trapped, you can say trapped by this dense forest of illusion. So what is this illusion Krishna is talking? Is talking about the rituals and Vedas, which recommend different processes and different rituals, rites to be performed, those duties, like this, the shloka that Madhvendra Puri shloka, right? So you have to take bath early, you have to offer to demigods, forefathers. All these are the rituals that a grihastha has is supposed to do daily. So daily he has to do this yagya, all these rituals. So this why Krishna is saying the forest of delusion, because if you go on following all these rules and rituals only, it will be very difficult to for you to get out of that. But if somehow or other you come in contact with, say, some devotee or intelligently, you understand the meaning of Veda, the ultimate meaning of Veda. Vedescha sarve ahameva vedyo. So Vedas are uh, there to uh, conclude the supremacy of Krishna or supremacy of Vishnu, and that you have to surrender to or serve Vishnu, Krishna. So that is the ultimate goal of the Vedas. So if an intelligent person knows the goal of the Vedas, then he can come out of this delusion. And once he come out of that delusion and he understands the ultimate goal and purpose of the Vedas, then he will not get caught in this daily or these rituals and rites. So then in that case, even if you hear, right, okay, if you do this pious activity, you will go to heaven. Or if you do this pious activity, all your sins are gone. So this type of activities, if you start doing, you can do n number of activities, each activity for one purpose. So, but one who knows the purpose behind purifying these activities, the rituals are for our purification, to give us higher consciousness, slowly, slowly, slowly. And the ultimate purpose is that you raise your consciousness, you raise your mode to sattva gun, And what you understand, the ultimate purpose of the Veda is to understand Krishna. So these rituals help you in that. But if you are intelligent, buddhi vyati tarishyati, if your buddhi goes beyond this illusion of Vedas and the processes mentioned, uh, then what will happen? Then you will become indifferent to all this, whatever specified in this uh, rituals and rites. So indifferent means what? You don't try to follow all these things. That's why there is reference of this shloka by Madhavendra Puri that I cannot execute all these rituals and rites now every day. So please excuse me for not executing this. But only thing is that I can serve uh, Krishna, and by serving Krishna, everything is fulfilled. So, like the common example we give, if you eat food, you don't feed your hand or legs separately. You just eat, and the food goes into the stomach, and then stomach nourishes all the body parts. So, if the purpose of all the Vedas is to understand Krishna, then you serve Krishna, then that will serve the all the purposes. So here Srila Prabhupada mentions that understanding by service to Supreme Lord. So if you understand this truth by service to Krishna, then you don't need to do all these penances and sacrifices, because there are so many scriptures, so many rules, so many rituals to be done, which even if we want to do, we cannot do, and even if we do some, that will not be perfect, because now there are no such Brahmins who can do these perfect rituals and pujas. So these Vedas are for different people, different modes. People have different modes. Some are sattva gun, some rajagun, some tamogun. So all these rituals and everything, the sections are there for people, so that they follow some rules, some processes, and by following those processes, they raise their consciousness to a little higher level. Because if you don't follow any rules, nothing is there, then you will be ruled by your mind or anything. Then, as a human being or as a society, you will be complete failure. But at least if you follow something, then you will raise your consciousness, because there is some control. So that is the purpose of these Vedas. But ultimately, you have to raise the consciousness to reach to understanding that Vishnu or Krishna is the purpose of Vedas. So once you are, so here Krishna says, Arjuna, if you come out of that illusion, then you will forget all these rituals and Vedas. So in 45th shloka, Krishna already told, Nistraya Guna Bhava Arjuna. So Vedas deal with three modes. Go beyond that. So we go beyond this illusion and go beyond the illusion or ignorance that you have, that your body and these relatives are your relatives. And so you will go out and live by begging and all these things. This is an illusion. You come out of this. And so if you come out of this, then you can understand what is the real purpose and what you are supposed to do. So here, now I think in next couple of shlokas or something, Krishna will tell that person who goes beyond this delusion, how his consciousness is. Uh, so that I think he will tell in the next shloka, 53 or 54. What is the buddhis tatha yogam So Samadhava Achala. Here I think he says how his buddhi is. So Krishna will tell, like, if you practice this process, buddhi yoga, and come out of this delusion, what will happen? That Krishna will explain in more details. And the next sloka that we'll see tomorrow. Hare Krishna. Any other points or some realizations or experiences? I can share one experience. Like, When I was in 12th, or now also, the kids, they have so many books and so many classes to be done. So much variety is there. For shopping also, we have so much varieties. So if you don't decide what you want to do, then actually you cannot progress, you cannot do anything. So you have to decide, those two the children, they have to decide what I want to do after 12th. Then they give the exam, J2E or NEET, and so they define their goal. But if they don't define, they cannot do. Even if you go for shopping, if you just go without thinking anything what I want to shop, then you will go mad in that shopping complexes and all. But if you know that I want to buy a clothes, so you will go to clothes shop and you will buy it. So in simple thing also, it's a bewildering. Everything is bewildering to the mind. Similarly, the Vedas, if you go to do everything, you cannot do. It's a common, very gross example, I think, to understand our situation. Okay, thank you very much. So we'll see tomorrow what happens when you come out of this delusion and you don't fall into the trap of this rights and rituals some way or other. Then what will happen, that we will see tomorrow. Hare Krishna.